Former offensive lineman, Brian Baldinger. We've seen him break down some preseason tape of DeJuan Jones. Take a look at what he sees from Nick Harris.
Nick Harris is battling for a backup center job with the Cleveland Browns. Started last night. But he did some really good things. There's a couple things that everybody needs to learn. Like, first of all, when you hit the man's hip, you move the body. Like, that right there is how you help out your guard. Bam. Right there, that's a punch. Bam. But Joe Thomas used to say, the great Hall of Famer Joe Thomas say, if you hit the hip, you move the body. Like, bam. Everybody, get low and hit the hip and you'll move the body. That's Jalen Carter, who he's cracking right here. All right, up on the Kobe Dean. You watch this and it's play after play. Nick Harris hitting the hip. Like, you watch him in the run game right here. This is a RPO right here. Like, that's how you move a tackle out of the way, up on the linebacker. Like, this is just a well-coached, deep offensive line at every position.
And, again, perspective of a former offensive lineman, some of the things you might not see as a casual fan, that's a pretty good indication. Again, that's a guy that's fighting for a roster spot.
Yeah, I mean, you still have to feel for Nick Harris when he probably could have been the starter last year at center, but, had that ACL injury. I think it was in the first series of that game against the Jaguars. Obviously missed the entire season. Ethan Posick stepping up, and good for the Browns that he did, because it gave them a center that they could at least go into 2023 with as a starter. But you did have to feel for Nick Harris, a guy who, entering his third year at the time, felt like it was his time to take the job from J.C. Treader, but obviously that didn't happen. So it's good to see that, Harris is putting good film out there, even if he doesn't make the team. But you would have to imagine that maybe come cut down time, especially after the Browns drafted Luke Whippler, and he seems like he could be the long-term center prospect of the future. Maybe he's a guy you can get a late pick for or something, because Harris is a guy I think who can play. He just had an unfortunate circumstance last season and then got drafted over because, in the 6th round Luke Whippler had too much value to pass up there. So he's a guy who should be starting somewhere. Maybe he doesn't win the battle again because, Andrew Berry just drafted another center, but he really should be on another NFL roster. If the Browns can get a draft pick for him, I think that'd just be a great bit of asset management from Andrew Berry. And for Nick Harris, I hope if it's not with Cleveland, I hope for him, after the way his career kind of started, that, he gets somewhere and he goes and has a productive career as a starting center.